Hello everyone and welcome to Golden Nova's First Reacts, where I react first to all the things you want to see reacted to first, as long as I'm the first person you come to react to things first. And a big Happy New Year's to all of my followers who are temporally locked as I am. For all of you who are drifting through the ether, unbound by Father Time's influence, I guess happy Boxing Day or something? I don't know. We have an Alliance Insight release, as well as a few TCG exclusives that are going to be released with Supreme Darkness, and then we're going to top things off with some cards from Alliance Insight that I've already looked at that are made to supplement the new 25th anniversary box they're coming out with. The one that supports Orcus, Dragon Maid, and p.u.n.k. That's the right one. I've got all of this on lock here. But first we're going to focus on this one I haven't seen before, Gordian Schneider. I keep wanting to say Schneider every time I look at it. I also love that this has, like, the Neos color scheme to it. It can't possibly have anything to do with Neos, but... Oh, well, maybe. I mean, this is the follow-up set to Supreme Darkness, which had all the Evil Hero stuff. Maybe it's got a Neos thing. Who knows? Gordian Schneider... Oh, it is Schneider. Oh, it's... whatever. It's Gourd. It's Gourd. At the start, it's a normal spell card. Its activation and effect cannot be negated, and at the start of your main phase, you target any number of face-up cards on the field, banish one card from your hand or 6 from your extra deck for every target face down, then return those targets to the hand. Okay. So... So they decided that they wanted to help out decks that normally like to use Pot of Extravagance, but instead of giving them draw power, they wanted to give them some kind of removal. And it's at the start of your main phase, so like you have to activate it at the beginning of when you can do actions, but your opponent can't negate it. They can respond to it. This is an important distinction. It's not spell speed 4. Your opponent can technically try to negate it, but it won't work. So if you don't want to give up anything in your hand, you can play Gordian Schneider, hit 2, banish 12 cards out of your extra deck face down that you don't care about, and then get those cards out of here. Or you can trade cards from your hand if you want to get a little extra value for it. They're all being banished face down, so it doesn't provide any kind of value outside of just having face down banished cards. This is just kind of solid. This will struggle to find a home, because I feel like most anti-meta decks that were running things like Pot of Extravagance weren't lacking in power. They were really, really strong. They just needed the gas to keep going because, they weren't given a lot of tools to work with in that regard. I don't know if hard removal... It's not even hard removal. It's the cards go back to the hand. And face-up cards, mind. We can't use this to get rid of back row that might be... we might be scared of, so... I think this is just going to be interesting. I think there will be, like, a deck or two where this is just the best thing you can be doing. Maybe we'll see this in, what is it, Nemlyria, as another way to just shred your extra deck really, really fast. So, maybe. But that's about all I can think of for that one. So, interesting card. Interesting. A little sad there was no actual Neos synergy here. But, I guess not everything that's silver with blue and red accents can be an Ultraman reference. Okay, next up, we've got the Supreme Darkness cards. We can see from this little screenshot that it's got the new TCG exclusives that I didn't react to here because I reacted to them with Vampire Ian over on their channel. Go check that out. It kind of happened while we were going to be streaming anyway, so you can get my reactions there. I think they're pretty cool, and I think they have a good chance, a good shot of being playable. Let's take a look at Curse of the Ancient Turtle, a normal spell card that seems to be part of some zombie push for the new TCG exclusive cards. Banish a zombie monster from your hand or graveyard to send a zombie from your deck to the graveyard. When your zombie monster is destroyed by battle, you can banish this card from your graveyard to special summon a zombie monster with an unknown amount or less defense from your deck. You can only use each effective Curse of the Ancient Turtle once per turn. Okay, so it's a zombie foolish, provided you have a zombie to spend on it. And I'm trying to think. I think Shinobi Necro is like, 1 second. Shinobi. I forget if it's one of those things where it can only work if it's been banished by a card effect. In this phase, it was banished face up to activate an effect or buy an effect, so it works for cost as well. So we could banish Shinobi Necro to send another one from deck to graveyard. It gets summoned back. And then it turns any one of our zombies into Pyramid Turtle when it gets destroyed by battle. That's very important. I must assume that even though we can't tell what number it is based on the screenshot here, it's got to be 2,000 or less. If it's supposed to mimic Pyramid Turtle, the strongest, the cornerstone of the Dead Rat combo of ancient years, it has to be a zombie with 2,000 or less from the deck. That's got to be what it is. That's kind of interesting. It doesn't care if the zombie monster is destroyed by a battle that you or your opponent initiate, so you could crash a zombie into your opponent and then get the free effect. The effects aren't mutually exclusive, so you can flow one into another one. I don't know. I think this has potential, especially with how many zombie decks love just shunting cards into the graveyard. This is another way to get more of them in there. And it's a generic, so it works with any of them. So that's something to keep an eye out for. Dark Necromancer, level 4 Dark Zombie effect monster, 1,000 attack, 1,400 defense. If this card is normal or special summoned, you can send a fiend or zombie ritual monster from your hand or deck to the graveyard. Then you can add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand. If this card is banished, you can target one of your banished level question mark or lower fiend or zombie monsters and special summon them. Oh. Okay. So, fiend and zombie is a really funny cross-section, but when it comes to zombie rituals, you know, you're looking at one right here. You think Vendreads. All of them have ritual spells that ritual summon from the graveyard. And you can just grab it. Well, this grabs any ritual spell, which by that metric is pretty bonkers for anything you want to splash in. But it works with. It gets any of the Vendread ritual spell cards, which ritual summon from the graveyard. A lot of them do. That's brazy. And if this card is banished, you get to special summon one of them. We don't know what the level is. I would. See, I want to say 4. But this thing does not exclude itself for the cards that it can summon. So, if this card is banished, you can target one of your banished level. If it's 4 or lower fiend or zombie monsters, you can special summon it. That means you could bring back Dark Necromancer. And then you could potentially do this effect again if you haven't done it beforehand. That is kind of goofy. And because you can banish zombies from the graveyard for the ritual summon of your Vendread monsters, this just comes back, so you get to keep doing this over again. That could be good if we summon back level 4 or lower monsters. And if there's some other part of this effect that says that we can't summon another copy of itself, because this card is a zombie monster. List of existing zombie ritual monsters. Yeah, I'll take a bite. What's going on here? What's our list of... Wow, gonna make me look for it myself, are you? Okay, well, pretty easy. Thankfully, the Yu-Gi-Oh! Card database is not too terrible to navigate. Archfiend's Awakening, Bleh, Chakra Bleh, Crealtar, Zork. Oh, it works with the Demise cards. That's kind of funny. It works with Libromancer Doombroker. Come on. It's Malakota! Burning Abyss! And then Scavenged. Scavenger doesn't have an effect under the graveyard. Only its base form does. That's pretty goofy. I like it. I like him a lot. I think there's some good potential here for some goofy gameplay to go on with zombies. The Fiend Ritual pile is not there yet. It makes me wonder why they decided to include it at all. Because my mind kept going to the Bakura card, or the Bakura cards that are going to come out, there's like that Earl of Souls or something, that fusion monster, and it cares about fiends and zombies, but that's a fusion monster, not a ritual, so maybe we're going to see some more Bakura support on the horizon, maybe we'll see some more Zork stuff going on, but for now, it's basically just a zombie support card, and a hell of a good one, especially if it does end up being able to summon itself from the banishment. Alright, next up, let's go ahead and cover the Alliance Insight support cards for the special box, for the new cards, for the supports. Now, what I like that they've been doing, and they've been doing this for core sets for a while now, they started doing it with the Tactical Tri-decks. That's why we've been seeing support for things like Eldritch, Cyber Dragon, and Live Twins recently. They got a lot more brazen with it this last set. It is specific support for those three. Generally, they try to keep it vague. It's like a zombie-ish thing or a fiend-ish thing. Now they're just kind of making, you know, the Link Monster, Cyber Jormungandr, which is pretty slick, and the new Eldritch, 2 Eldritch cards, actually, which is bonkers. This, it looks like they're going back to basics on this one, where these are tangentially support for the stuff in the box, but come on, they're basically trying to amp them up. And the first one is going to be the Punk one, Jura the Cursed Thunder Deity, a level 11 Earth Psychic Synchro Monster, 3100 attack and the defense requiring generic material. You can only use the second effect of this card once per turn. Each time your opponent activates a card or effect, gain 300 life points when it resolves, and during your opponent's turn as a quick effect, you can tribute this card, then pay 1500 life points to activate one of the following effects. Either destroy all face-up monsters your opponent controls, or destroy all face-up spell and trap cards your opponent controls. Now, this one I'm kind of torn on. This feels like they wanted to give Live Twins a... Not Live Twins. They wanted to give Punk a going first option here. And it kind of makes sense. It sits on the field. It gives you life points as it sits on the board to pay back all the life points that you were paying previously, you know. I think each Punk activation is 800 life points, so every time your opponent activates roughly 3 effects, you get to pay... You get a rebate on all of that. Or if your opponent activates 5 things, that's 1500 life points. So the second effect is all paid for if they do that. So it's kind of like a weird restricted Nibiru that maybe your opponent can make free if they play enough cards. And for what it's worth, the removal is pretty nifty. It's either a, not Raigeki, but like a Lightning Vortex or something. The one that destroys face-up monsters. It's not Lightning Storm, it's Lightning Vortex. Yeah, that's it. So Lightning Vortex or a Harpy's Feather Duster that only hits face-up spell and trap cards. I don't know if there is a Harpy's Feather comparison for that one. So it looks like they were trying to make that happen, but Punk already kind of has a turn 1 option in the form of Amazing Dragon. You know, if you set up Shirakusai and any level 8 monster, opponent's turn at any point, you go quick effect, pay 800, whoom, I have my big Sea Serpent, and then I get to bounce a bunch of your cards. So I suppose this is here in case you, A, have enough material to set up Shirakusai, and also you want to summon more stuff. This is another option you can summon alongside them. Or if you're not able to get specifically Shirakusai and level 8, but you do have the material for a level 11 Synchro Summon, Jura kind of fills that slot. It's nice. I wouldn't say it's incredible. Because it only hits face-up cards, your opponent can just set cards to keep all of them safe. It's only usable during your opponent's turn, so if they want to commit to stuff during your own turn, there's nothing you can really do to stop them. The life point gain happens at any point, so as long as it's on the field, we're regaining life points. And I like that it is a fair amount of life points. It's kind of like taxing, but it's not going to lead to a 1 game state by itself. But 300 life points is pretty per activation. So I'm kind of mid on this one. This gives us some options, and hard removal is hard to come by in Engine for Punks, so at least we have an option for it. But I'm not blown away by it, but it is nice. It's nice to have Jura. Next up, a card that I swear I looked at it and I just felt like this was both a Dragon Maid and a branded card. Philia Regis, Forbidden Princess of the Fairy Dragons. That's not... Oh man, that would be a cool full name, but it looks like that's the translation is It's either Philia Regis or Forbidden Princess of the Fairy Dragons. Level 8 Dark Dragon Fusion Monster, 3000 attack, 2500 defense. Can you blame me for thinking it was a branded card? It has the branded stats. Its materials are any dragon fusion monster and a level 7 or higher dragon monster. So, hey, branded. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name each once per turn. During the main phase, as a quick effect, you can target one card your opponent controls or is in their graveyard. Banish it, then if you banish the card on the field, return a dragon monster you control to the hand. And second, at the start of your opponent's battle phase, if this card is in your graveyard, you can return a dragon monster you control to the hand or extra deck, and if you do, special summon this card. So the returning dragons to hand pretty firmly cements this as a Dragon-Maid support. You could use this in Branded, and I look forward to seeing if that's possible, but this is pretty much for the Dragon-Maid girlies out there. The first effect is pretty interesting. So you have what is essentially a DD Crow, or actual removal on the board, and if you do, you have to pay by putting a dragon back into your hand, which has the potential to trigger other cards. House Dragon-Maid pops a card anytime one of your dragons returns to hand. So if you have a spare one lying around, normally you can play around House Dragon-Maid because the bounces only happen during the beginning and the end of the battle phase. Philia Regis gives you a way to trigger that more often on your own terms, which I think is very, very good for the theme and helps to reset your cards. The fact that you're putting them back into your hand, does mean that you're not activating their effects during the battle phase to summon out your monsters, but if you're putting your small Dragon Maids back in the hand, that's not too terrible because that's more opportunities to use their effect. And then the second effect just reborns this. If you trade a dragon monster, it's another way to return dragons to the hand, and having a 3000 body to work with is pretty stellar. Unfortunately, if you go into your opponent's battle phase, the first effect is locked out for a while because it only works during the main phases. But free dragon is free dragon. The materials are kind of nutty here. You have to have committed to a dragon fusion already, but you know, we have tons of dragon fusions now, especially with the support that came out in that box that does summon another dragon when you make it, using your like banished material. So this might be a pivot that you can go into from that monster. I'm looking forward to seeing how this works. Unfortunately, I don't think this really solves anything that Dragon Maid needs. They have like removal, Xiao is like negation. They have these really cool boss monsters that you can leverage into a win. I think the problem isn't that they don't have like, they don't need more flashy payoff cards. What they need is the infrastructure. They have so many dragons that mismatch their levels that like it wants to incentivize you playing as many Dragon Maids as possible, but the level 3 and 7 ones don't line up with the level 4 and 8, or the 2 and 7s and the 3 and 8s. That's what it is. It's a 5-level difference there. They don't line up with each other when it comes to their summoning lines, so you have these two like classifications of Dragon Maids, so you kind of want to pick one or the other so you don't run into that, but then you're cutting off half of what the deck is supposed to do. And so then you just kind of ignore most of it and then just do Dragon Link stuff, which this does not really change. It's more stuff to add on to the fire to solidify your wins, but it's not going to be winning you more games, I don't think. And that's, I think, the problem with some of these legacy support waves. They want to have something flashy that they can put up in the advertising to show, but sometimes the most effective thing for an archetype is not another big boss monster. It's a piece of infrastructure that helps keep your game plan going in the face of interaction. And I don't know if that really revs up the hype engines quite as much. So I'm actually, despite it being gorgeous looking, I'm not really sure if this is what the deck needs to compete nowadays, which is sad to say, but I don't have a lot of confidence in this card working. Last one is NT8000 Sirius, a level 8 Dark Machine effect monster, 2300 attack, 2500 defense. This is a goofy one, so stick with us for a second. You can only use the second and third effect of this card's name once per turn each. This linked card cannot be destroyed by battle, so we've got the Orcust synergy showing up. During a turn a Link monster activated in effect as a quick effect, you can target one face-up card on your field and one face-up card on your opponent's field and destroy those 2 cards. And third, if this card is sent to the graveyard except from the field, and you control a Dark Link monster, you can special summon this card, but it leaves the field if it is banished. Or it leaves the field, it is banished. Not if it's banished, it leaves the field. Silly. Okay, so this is pretty goofy. So working from the bottom, if this card is sent to the graveyard except from the field, and you control a Dark Link monster. So this brings to mind Orcus Nightmare. Orcus Nightmare normally sends World Wand to summon out a banished... I think it's specifically an Orcus monster. I'm pretty sure it's not a banished Dark Machine. And I think it also does World Legacies too, but you really only summon Orcus. So generally that's what you do if you want to continue your combo line. But instead what you can do is you can send you can use Orcus Nightmare to send NT8000 because it sends any Dark Machine monster from your deck to the graveyard. This will trigger this, and then it gets equipped to you can summon this onto the field. Now, it's only if you control a Dark Link monster, and because this linked card can't be destroyed by battle, you're going to want to put this on that. And then, second effect, during a turn a Link monster activated in effect as a quick effect, you can target a face-up card on your field and a face-up card on your opponent's field and destroy those 2 cards. Now, I think it's... I forget if the new ones have this effect, but I'm pretty sure that Longirsu and Orcustrian are both Orcus Link monsters that when linked cannot be destroyed by card effects. And with Orcus Babel, their effects become quick effects. So, during your opponent's turn, you can have Longirsu activate their effect to send some number of monsters that it points to the graveyard. I forget if it can only send one or if it sends all of them. It better not send all of them because this guy's gonna be pointed to him. We can have its effect, and then because this is also a quick effect, you can target your Longirsu in one of their cards, but because the destructions here aren't like, you don't have to destroy one to destroy the other, it just destroys both of them simultaneously, your Longirsu is going to be fine, and you just get some more free removal on top of it. And then you just have like a big body on your board that can't be destroyed by battle that helps, like, gives you more blocks. This card is very funny. It's like they remade unions for Link monsters, and I kind of dig the design here. Unfortunately, I just do not think that this cuts the mustard once again. Orcus Nightmare is already really good at establishing your board state. You want to be using that to get your resource engine online. Burning it on what amounts to a union monster that gives you a quick effect pop does not feel like it's the thing Orcus wants to be doing. They have so many other better pieces of removal. You have Dingirsu, which is non-targeting sending of any card, which is nutty. Yeah, these cards seem interesting, and I'm glad that they are just interesting and not game-changing. And maybe I'm wrong about it. I feel like, at least in terms of the Punk card and Sirius here, there's a way these could become competitively viable. I'm seeing the vision. They affect the board state, and they weave into our general combo lines very well. Maybe Philia Regis does as well, and I'm not seeing it because I'm not Dragon Maid pilled. Once again, down below, let me know if there's something that I'm missing with this. But I feel like these are cheeky, bordering on being good, and not outright really good. But that's, I think that's a nice place for them to be at. And that covers all of the new cards that we've got to talk about right now. I think that new zombie stuff is pretty silly and has the potential to help put zombies back on the map. The Gordian Schneider thing is interesting. I'm looking forward to seeing if that catches. And I think the not quite tactical try, but the 25th anniversary box updates are at least very interesting to talk about. I guess in order of excitement, from top to bottom, it's got to be Sirius, Jura, and then Philia Regis. But, I don't want to say I love being proved wrong, because I like it when I'm right about stuff. But I do relish the opportunity to increase my power by learning from all of you when I am wrong. So if there's something that I'm missing, let me know down below. I'd love to hear what your thoughts on. Are there any decks that are now viable because of this that I haven't touched on? These are pretty generic. They focus on being like generic dragon support or generic level 11 support, synchros, or generic dark machine support. But there could be some other decks that have those, you know, umbrellas on them that have now become infinitely better. Let me know if there's any weird tech picks that these are going to be used as. Anything. I want to know down below. I thirst for your knowledge. And I guess that about does it for me. Once again, Happy New Year, and until the next time that Konami drops some juicy spoilers, I will see all of you next time. Bye-bye. Today's episode is brought to you by Dragon Shield. Get the sleeves as strong as dragon scales and get 5% off your order by using the coupon code GoldenNova at checkout. It was also brought to you by my lovely patrons, including this month's illustrious Quasar Commanders Upstairs Media and the Critic of Innocence, Nebula Navigator's Third Dynasty, 50 Gigabytes, Ada Basilisk, Adam Zagidel, Ancient Wizard, Andrew Newman, Battle Axe, Kane Senpai, Chibi Gohan, Christopher Fuss, Clockswork, Comrade Copperbottom, Eric, Frankie, Garland Chaos, Going It/Its for the Bit/Bits, Great Big Pillock, Hair Bear, Happy Majin, Harry the Ominous Benefactor, Iron Zero, Iskander711, Carp, Marion James E. Picata, Millennia Asta, Muse Clark, Neon Yami Nair, Orozco 09096, Panther J, Bat Boos, Rank 10 Trains, Rebel King Lucifer, Red Eyes Jackalow, RJ the Jank Monarch, Thievery Coast and the Wizard Moose, Cosmic Crusaders Ally Vatnia, Animasta, Baron Von Titty Sprinkles, Beelzephyr, Fish, Beluga Masta, Blitzwolf, Caesar M, Chazghost, Dr. Reaper, RIP, Eva Padilla, Gary Lick Bread, Hike Boyagian, Herbal D, Inblink, Kale the Dragon, Lobomaru02, Manga Pages, Matt Simmons, McSpoofy, Natiel Lee Alexander, Nitromo, Not Al Gore, Nyx, Obsidian, Rainer Leong, Ryan Kairos, Shizuka Nijimura, Sir Knight JCB, Sophie, apparently, Sphilia, Stephen Williamson, The Legendary Raven, The Phantom Knights of Shitted Pants, The Gene, Tiger X2476, Weasel King of Weaseltown and Zal Dreka, as well as all the wonderful Starlight Explorers you see on screen now. If you'd like to help me in my journey to cover all of Yu-Gi-Oh's archetypes, get my videos early, be a part of these credits and other awesome perks, it would mean the world to me if you would check out the link to my Patreon in the description or consider joining as a YouTube member.